So glad that you could join us tonight for the third annual Mental Health Fun Fair. Just a few quick notes before we begin. I'd like to remind you that while there is amazing information about mental health and wellness, this is not a replacement for any professional advice that you have been given. If you or someone else that you care about is experiencing a mental health emergency, please do not hesitate to reach out to your local emergency line for actual immediate help. If you do want to follow through with more mental health advice and help, please reach out to us at mhff.org. Our information will be on the screen, but we will be happy to assist you in finding and beginning that journey to mental health and wellness. Thanks so much for being a part of tonight, and we hope you enjoyed the show. So glad that you could join us tonight for the third. Hey, everybody. Thank you and welcome to the third annual Mental Health Fun Fair. I am Jay Billingy. I am the founder and executive director of Mhff Inc. It is the parent program to the Mental Health Fun Fair. And I'm here with the fabulous and wonderful.
I'm Bree Smith. I am the clinical outreach coordinator for Mhff, this fabulous agency, as well as Locked and Loaded on social media.
And tonight we are excited to be your main hosts as we talk through mental health and wellness. We've got 3 panels located here in Chattanooga, which is us, and Atlanta and Los Angeles. So why don't we give you a chance to meet them?
You telling me? Speaker. Turn it up. Put it on this side. Y'all can go ahead.
Don't be shy.
Right. Bear with us as we do this. This is an exciting program, but there are a lot of, cool things that we're navigating as this is kind of something that's not, regularly done in our circles. So we're really just excited to be troubleshooting. We're inviting everybody with us to do this, but we're excited. So as the panels get ready, we are looking forward to hearing from each and every one of them. We are looking forward to our panels introducing their names and just telling us literally where they're at.
Yes, excited also about the opportunity to bring so many different locations and people together and touch so many lives. I think we always look at the pandemic and all of the challenges it's brought, but not so much the opportunities it's created for connection. So super excited about that.
That's true. And I think a lot of us, I know I have probably been one of those like CDCers who've just been in my house. I still got COVID anyway, but I've been at home for almost 2 years. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at these statistics that have been talking about like 4 out of 10 people or something like that have shared that they're having more anxiety or depression related to the pandemic and what they're calling pandemic fatigue, which is partly why we decided to do some of this virtual stuff, because some of us can't really go out and some of us are still at risk. So, that's part of why we're doing this hybrid event, but it's really cool to be able to do something like this.
Yes. You're absolutely right. The statistics are staggering, even what we're seeing when it comes to mental health, us as therapists, right? We get a chance to sometimes peer into people's inner thoughts. And there's a lot of people who are anxious about the pandemic and even when it ends, how different the world's going to be. And so I think events like this bring awareness so that it's not so scary once things do get started and the world opens up again.
So, and I agree with you. What would you say in your experience has been, well, actually, pause. We are going to toss to LA. I think it is the time. Like a pizza, we're going to throw it at you. LA, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Candace Enang. We're here in LA. I'm here with my LA panelists. Let them introduce themselves.
I'm Danette Sanders. I'm an 8-year school psychologist. I also am the starter I am mommy of Mommy and Mouse on Instagram.
Nice to know. How's it going? My name is Lloyd Barker, CEO of Lock Solutions Group, a luxury asset consulting firm. From there, just happy to be here in LA for 2 years now, and moving fast.
Hey everyone, my name is Amon Lyle. I'm a manager of content acquisition at Amazon. from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I live in LA. Been here about 4 years. I'm blessed and honored to have this ability to create this dialogue in our community because it's so needed. So thank you for this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Aiden. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I reside in Hollywood, California, and I do real estate. I'm just happy to be here and speak on mental health awareness.
Hi everyone, I'm Dominique Sanders. I'm a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, CEO and founder of Greater Mindfulness, physical psychiatry health practice, serving California.
Well, it has been an honor to get to meet you all. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And as we get ready to enjoy this, we are going to actually be bringing in some live content. Let me just tell you a little bit how it's going to rock tonight. We've got some pre-recorded content as we go in between our locations to talk about the mental health questions. We've got 3 main questions that we will be asking, and Bree and I are going to bring those questions in and share them with you. And then we'll be able to share and talk between the different locations about our answers and our thoughts. The cool thing about it is, since all of us are from different places, we're bringing a lot of different headspaces. And I think the thing about mental health is that, we all have, it doesn't matter whether you are a professional or you are a professional figuring out what that means for yourself.
Yes, yes.
We all have our own headspaces. And so I'm hoping that tonight we'll be able to kind of just get some perspective.
Yeah, I was going to just add in with that. The cool thing about tonight is that you're going to be able to hear from us as the panelists, but also you'll get a chance to get feedback from people who are translating mental health into their everyday lives, whether you're a stylist, a professional, whatever type of field. So really, really stay tuned because you're going to get some great info and get a cool perspective.
And with that, let's take it to our first video.
It changed my life. Going into it, I quit my job in corporate America because I was unhappy. And everyone who sits in the chair is a new opportunity. As a youth minister, it's like I get to talk to more than just children. I get to talk to adults who are going through things, children, teenagers, and it gives me the opportunity to instill what I've learned spiritually into people who are going through things on a daily or everyday basis. One thing that you need is you need family and friends. Well, in a beauty industry, if you come to the salon to get your hair done, your stylist is usually your friend, someone you're going to sit in the chair and talk to, you're going to pour your emotions into, you're going to tell what's going on with your life. I don't know if you remember Lizzo saying shampoo press get you out of my hair. That's one of the things that the salon does for people. You got an opportunity to speak with your stylist as if they were like a counselor almost. And when you sit down and get your hair shampooed and you get a refreshing and renewing and you walk out of here looking different, it's a life-changing experience, not just physically, but it's emotional because you dealt with having the opportunity to be with a friend, have someone to talk to. You also have the opportunity to feel better about yourself. So physically, a physical appearance of change actually helps people. I've seen many people walk out of this facility different from what they came in. When they came in, they were dragging. When they went out, they were smiling and energetic. So I think the myth comes in when you say that the beauty industry doesn't have a place in mental health. I think that it does. And I think it is like one of the top things a person can do when they are actually trying to improve their mental health. What you can do to help us is bring someone down who's going through something and allow them the experience of sitting in the chair and being beautified. You never know what a person needs until you get them away from the current situation and into a new environment. We are loving people. We like the company of our clients and our customers to come in. We're located at 4617 Brainerd Road, Suite A, Chattanooga, Tennessee, 37411. And another way you can help, if you know someone who's going through anything emotionally, mentally, physically, and they're needing someone to help them get through those things, a good spa day would help. We have a licensed esthetician on staff. We have a licensed barber on staff, and I am a licensed cosmetologist, a master cosmetologist on staff, and we're open-minded to the community. We've dealt with a diverse group of people. One of the things we do specialize in is children with autism, assist them with their haircut or styling needs. So if you know anyone, you can definitely help by bringing people to us or bringing more people in so that we can communicate and conversate and talk to our community to see what we can do as stylists to help on an everyday basis.
Hi, my name is Bobby Gaffin. I'm the portfolio marketing manager for the cloud division at LifeRay, a software company. And I'm really excited and honored to be a part of the board of Mhff Aspire. I joined because of the great work that they've done in the past, and the future is so bright. And so it's amazing to be on a talented team who, are taking action and doing things to positively impact the mental health of so many different communities across the country. So just really honored to be a part of the team. One myth about mental health is that if you seek help with your mental health, or if you speak to a professional, or if you have any mental health issues that you will admit or recognize, that you're crazy. And that's not the truth. That just means you're normal. We all go through traumas in life. We all have different aspects of our mental health that we need help in. And so, really, recognizing that and doing something about it, it just means that you're a normal person. And I believe it's important to focus on mental health because this affects every aspect of our lives, our relationships with our friends and family, our community, our jobs or our businesses and school. To really just operate as a person, you need to have a solid mental health, and you need to have your mental health in check and just be cognizant of what's going on. So it really encompasses just everything of our being. Be seen, be heard, be shameless. Mental health matters.
All right. So I'm really grateful to hear those perspectives on mental health. And we felt like it would be a great time to go and introduce our first question of the night, which is, what does mental health mean to you or for you? Jay, do you mind if I get a little perspective from you before I put mine in?
Sure. And I think the concept of mental health to me personally, and this is just my opinion, um, it almost doesn't mean anything. It's just a phrase.
Wait a minute.
Like I think when we unpack the phrase, we think about what health is as a whole. When we say mental health, I think we're talking about the balance of really truly mental wellness, right? Because when we're talking about health, there's so many factors that come into health. So just to have mental health, I don't think it's actually possible to have just mental health. I mean, I understand what it means, but like this is my perspective, right? So when we talk about again mental health, I'm thinking that it's really important for us to understand that like a person isn't just made up of just thoughts. But as we talk about here at My Aspire, using like CBT, like our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions connect, right? So our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, our character, what we observe, what we absolve, what we take into ourselves, like from all of our facets of input. I think when we talk about mental health, it's about understanding that what is coming in is going to create a space, a world internally, and that is going to perspectivate, it's not a word, what comes out of us. It's going to create a climate internally. And I think mental health is about that climate. It's about how do we manage that climate? Whatever we have going on, how do we manage that? How do we make that a balance, which I think ultimately is health.
Very eloquent, ma'am.
Oh, where I'm making up words? Yeah.
Out here. If I had to put any type of meaning to mental health, for me, it really looks like, honestly, the internal capability to work towards the best version of yourself, if I'm being honest. um like you said, health cannot be just divvied up into only physical health or only mental health. And so I think of what is going on internally with you as far as the way you perceive the world, the way you handle challenges. you know the world is hard, life is really hard, and it becomes more challenging when you have a lot of stuff going on internally and you don't feel like you have the skill set to navigate it, right? And so the same way that you would go to your doctor to maintain your physical health, basically, so that you can be best fit to deal with living is no different than with your mental health, right? Making sure internally that you're in a great space to be able to handle this thing called life, right? I hope we don't
Right.
get copyrighted for it. I'm joking.
Well,
But
you know what we meant.
you know what we
For
meant.
educational
Purposes
purposes.
only. Yes, but just really looking at it's not just about what's wrong with you. It's how do we help you make things right for what you want for yourself. And that's what I look at mental health as being. So I definitely look forward to seeing what our Atlanta and our LA locations have to say about that.
Sure.
When we touch base with them later on.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get ready to bring LA in. And so LA, we are asking you,
Yes.
what does mental health mean to you in your own words?
Well, I think of mental health as a system made up of different parts because it's impacted by our family structure, our access to care, our health status, the environment that's constantly changing, and how we adapt or cope with that is a reflection of mental health.
Because I primarily work with teens and younger, I phrase it a little differently. They're all dating, and I always say it's like dating yourself. So your new boyfriend or your new girlfriend doesn't have the same likes and cares that your last one did, and so you have to find out what that person likes. What does that person need? And so mental health for me is that dating yourself, finding out what it is that you need to feel safe, finding out what it is that you need to feel loved, finding what it is that you need to be successful and healthy, and you can communicate and participate in your community in a meaningful way.
I absolutely agree with you. And, mental health itself, it's amazing because most of us don't understand the value of mental health until we reach a certain age. We all come from a childhood in which could be necessarily questionable or glorified. And from that standpoint, that really determines our mental health as we continue to grow throughout this world and continuously get hit through multiple challenges of life. So I agree. It's all about finding out how to love yourself better.
For me as an artist, mental health is just mental calmness, and I tend to heal myself through my art, and I think that's one of the things, like what Danette was saying here, is getting to know yourself and knowing what you need to be able to be calm, be at peace, and be healthy mentally.
Mental health to me is just being able to go through everyday challenges and and go through adversity and be able to get through it. I feel like mental health for me is just being able to like push through life even when life hits you. Be able to like meditate and stay calm through what life throws at you.
Yeah, I got the sentiments of everybody up here. I think mental health is the ability and a state of being each day to live without having mental challenges and barriers that prevent you from accessing your full potential. And that could be related to trauma, stress, and any other things that you're interacting with externally or internally. So that's kind of what I think mental health is.
Lovely. I couldn't agree more. What do you think?
I mean, it's just really awesome to hear y'all's perspectives and see that there's a common theme echoing through all of ours, right? And it's just, even if we're in different locations, different people and different walks, I think we're all connected through a perspective of realizing that it's more than just what you see in the movies and more than just sitting on somebody's couch. So really glad to hear that.
Sitting on someone's couch.
Okay, don't do me like that.
So, I mean, but I hear you, right?
Yeah.
And that's the stereotype, right? Like, how do you feel about that, right? And so just being able to have that other like the broader perspective, like understanding that it's bigger and it's also small and that it's like me, right? Like it's what I need for me, and that's not going to look the same for you.
Correct.
And that's okay. Just as long as I'm not hurting nobody.
There it is. There it is.
This is awesome. So I think we are ready to kick it back to another video. And then we're gonna get Atlanta in. So actually let's head over to Atlanta. Atlanta, so again, we are excited to bring you on. Atlanta, introduce yourselves, give us your name, and then answer the question, what is mental health for you in your own words?
Hey guys, my name is Charles Putman from Atlanta. I own a virtual administrative and operations firm specializing in support for small business owners. Mental health, I kind of echo what I heard someone else say is mental fitness, knowing how to cope with different things, knowing your ways of coping with life. People, I think of grief often, knowing how to handle grief. I think everyone has different ways of processing things. So just knowing what works for you and how to manage.
Hey everyone, I'm Marshawn Sims and I'm from North Georgia. But for me, I believe mental health is about balance, similar to what he was saying about the processing of just daily challenges. What mental health looks like, I guess a healthy mental health for me is a balance of being able to deal with everything that you can go through and the woes not weigh you down.
Hi, I'm Peggy. I am an actress and the CEO of PJL Candles, and I believe that mental health is it's a balance, right? So it's taking care of and prioritizing yourself, and then using healthy tools to cope with life stressors, cope with the good parts of life, and just making sure that you are maintaining a full view of yourself and having a good having a good perspective in life.
Yes, and then don't forget if you guys can to answer that question of what mental health means for you.
Well, and I feel like these answers, right, like to me really speak to, again, kind of what we were saying before. It's what each of us experience. I think Marshawn was your name. I apologize. But talking about being able to do whatever you're going through, right, and having that capacity, and we just different capacities at different times. We're therapists, right? And how many times in your world do people just expect you to know things?
Literally daily,
And
every single day.
well, you're a therapist, so you should. But we're people, right? And so whatever your headspace is, wherever you're coming from, mental health matters. So that being said, I'm excited for our next video. Take a look.
My name is Johnny Martin. I'm the owner of Cage Fitness and Yoga Lounge, as well as Young Yoglets, where we collaborate to do yoga for kids ages 3 years old all the way to senior citizens. People believe that it's a Buddhist or a Hinduist religion. And a lot of people picture yoga as sitting down, doing mantras, moving your hands, chanting, and laying out. But actually, yoga has changed a lot. Different genres of yoga, different music that we play. Like if you like country music, you may not like rap music. Well, with yoga, you may not like Kundalini, which is one of chanting, but you may like a power yoga, where you're actually using your mind-body awareness. And that's the yoga that I teach, your mind-body awareness, to our kids, because most of our kids and most of our males live in a reptilian portion of the brain. That portion of the brain only deals with survival. You don't even have to think. As soon as a bird, you walk out to that bird does not think if you're trying to feed them, if you're trying to pet them, they automatically take off and fly. So our kids, especially in the inner city, most of them, their reptilian portion of the brain is overdeveloped. So where their frontal lobe, which deals with reasoning, decision-making, cognitive thinking, all of that is underdeveloped. So what I teach my yoga is, when I teach my yoga, we focus on our mind-body awareness, dealing with kids to learn to use their frontal lobe, which is very important. Once they can reduce the reptilian portion, you won't have a child that's having an outburst because a teacher may have said something that they didn't like. So when you see those outbursts, that's dealing from the reptilian portion of the brain that tells that kid they're either going to fight or they're going to fly. And you'll see a child run out of a classroom, or you see a child get into a fight with someone. So when we're doing yoga and I'm teaching them how to focus and concentrate and be just in that one moment using the frontal lobe, our kids will concentrate better, they'll focus, they'll be more alert, and they also make better grades. So if we can get rid of people thinking that yoga is just a Hinduist and Buddhist situation and understand that it's a total unity is what yoga stands for, unity of the mind, body, then people understand the great benefits of yoga. Well, I did a 12 young men at Barga Academy. We did about 14-week program of yoga, mindfulness. And when they came to me, they were in trouble, not making great grades, not making great decisions. And that's what I say with most kids. They just don't make great decisions. And after going through the 12-week program with those 12 kids, one of them dropped out, but out of the 11 that was left, 9 of them got most improvement. Their academics went up, and the teacher said they was a joy to have in the class. Now, I do still follow a lot of them. I also mentor them. I stay consistent in their life. So I see them here and time again. And I go to different schools and see them, and also go to their football and basketball games, because I believe that if you're going to be there, you have to be consistent. So yoga to me is about a consistent building this child, not just helping them for this moment, but helping them out to be successful adults as well. I do Warrior 1 and Warrior 2 and tree pose. And the reason why is because you see these poses on commercials a lot. Any commercial you look at nowadays, almost every commercial has some yoga poses on it. And I want to do these 3 poses because I want to show people the proper way to do these 3 poses, because they're the most common pose you'll see. They also deals with making sure your mind and body is developed in the same lane. So there's no way you can do a balancing pose and have your mind thinking about what you're going to cook. You know, there's no way you can do a Warrior 1 pose and your knee is bent in. Warrior 2, where you're dropping your hips or you're sticking your bottom out. So all these are going with mind-body awareness. We're going to go through 3 poses. The 3 poses are 3 poses that you see on commercials a lot. And I'm going to explain the points of each pose, which helps you actually focus and use your mind-body awareness. The first pose is going to be Warrior 1. Warrior 1, my right foot is going to be forward. And what you will see is people just hanging out here, knee caved in, hands barely up, which makes you actually use your mind and think about the pose is when you're making sure that your knee is lined up with your ankle. It's bent. Your back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Your hips are rotating forward. As I say, you see a lot of people this way. Hips rotating forward, hands straight up, pinkies towards each other, and you're breathing. This is Warrior 1. The next pose I go to, I come right out of Warrior 1 into Warrior 2. It's another pose you see on commercials. You bring your arms out. If you have to, you bring that foot. You line it straight up with this foot, so now you're flat here. Your arms are straight out. Your gaze is over that middle finger. What you see a lot, and I laugh at people a lot, is you'll see this. They're pressed out. Bring that stomach in, tuck everything under, making you think about it, making sure your knee is not caved in. It's all lined up. Checking on that back hand, making sure it's even with that front hand. And breathing. You're in Warrior 2. The next pose we'll go to will be tree pose. There's 3 ways to do tree pose. As we get older, our balance, we lose it. So the first way is a kickstand tree yoga. Tree pose. Kickstand, arms straight up. There again, your hips are turned outward, so you're not turned in. Hips are turned out. Hands straight up. Tree pose. One modification of it. The next one is you could bring your foot right on your calf. Breathe. Hips open again. Concentrating and focus. Tree pose. The other way, as soon as I can get my foot up here, right? You bring it up here, and you're up. My pants are making it slip. Pants are making my feet slip. So here. But you never place it on your knee. Never press against your knee here, because this is a hinge joint. It's not made to press out that way. Those are the three ways, and I'm falling over. Those are the three ways that you do your tree pose. So as I said, warrior one, warrior two, and tree pose. I hope y'all enjoyed yourself. Join in the Cage Fitness and Yoga Lounge. You can go to our website, which is www.cfaylounge.com. Join on the website. There's a slot that you can book a drop-in rate, or you can buy class membership packages, or you can email me at Cage Fitness, which is cfaylounge@gmail.com, for any questions you may have about yoga or fitness, because we teach fitness and yoga. Or you can contact us at 423-596-0040, which is Johnny, or my assistant at 423-544-5418, which her name is Tammy.
Maybe I should do the other foot. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Okay. He said you can't put it against your knee. It has to be
Right. Like he said, we can't. Like I'm trying to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
well,
we're over here like literally
yes.
trying yoga poses and trying to figure this out.
Just trying to get that good energy though.
Yes. So thankful for him, sharing that perspective of how yoga just really reflects this need to understand that the mind and body are connected.
Right.
That's-
Right. And it's not this oogity boogity like whoo. And I mean, no shade to goat yoga and wine yoga and all these things, but
shade.
but and those are all fun and exciting things, and ultimately the experience is kind of what can help bring you out of your shell and help us get into that like yummy juicy like mental health transition. But like the beautiful thing of being in tune with your body, I think, is the heart and the root of the yoga movement that spans from years and years ago from the east orient.
Correct.
So we have another question. Bree, what is our second question?
Okay. So with our second question, we're really tackling the whole reason we're having to do this in the first place. And what we want to know is, what are some of the societal norms that really affect this whole stigma that exists around getting mental health help, especially when you look at some of our non-mainstream populations, Black and Brown communities, LGBT, immigrant families, just, what is it about society that contributes to the stigma against getting mental health help?
I think that's fair. And I think also, I mean, when we think about like non-dominant, non-mainstream populations, we're thinking like third culture kids, people who are first or second generation. So your parents like my parents came over from the Virgin Islands, right? But, I'm clearly American. I've been here my whole life. I don't know nothing about the Virgin Islands other than, we support the Caribbean.
Yes.
But, and, there's so many of us who are in these diverse spaces that are not typical. I'd even argue like neurodiverse, like so some of us who've been born with other mental illnesses or disabilities, right? Like some of these non-mainstream populations. Again, what is that stigma? Why is there a stigma? What is the stigma that perpetuates, by the like society? And then why is it hard?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, the first thing that comes to my mind is the fact that, especially here in the US, no shade, we are very independence driven, right? You need to pick yourself up by your own bootstraps, even if you lost your boots. Like you need to figure out where you're going to find some bootstraps. And so this idea of asking for help at all is really taboo, right? So when we even look at the vulnerability and the courage it takes to reach out for mental health help, that's just not something that is always received in a positive way. A lot of people are not very understanding or sympathetic to it, or think about the recent conversations maybe you even heard strangers or family or whoever talk, like when they talk about mental health, sometimes they will speak about it in such a negative way. If you are struggling, it makes you very uncomfortable with the idea of wanting to open up. Or heavy religious backgrounds, right? I grew up in Alabama, the deep South, you know what I'm saying? Like you were learning hymnals before you knew how to read, you know what I mean? And so the go-to was to pray it away. That's just what it was, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that a lot of times mental health can get a bad rep and be misunderstood. So that's a few of the things that I've noticed, but I definitely look forward to hearing what everybody else, believes to contribute to some of that stigma, because later on we'll actually talk a little bit more about what to do about it.
For sure. So with that being said, let's kick it to LA. LA, be seen, be heard, be shameless.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, perfect. I know where I'm from. There's this demonization that happens about mental health, that if you need help with your mental health that something's wrong with you, when in reality, what we don't understand, we demonize, and we create narratives around it that are not necessarily helpful to our community. So what I think is the solution to that is kind of having a more normalized dialogue about the benefits of mental health, and realizing that getting therapy or having mental health treatment is not a reflection of your poor mental health, but it's a reflection of how you internalize things that happen in your environment and how things like that can affect you, whether or not you feel, well or not. Understanding that it's a part of life to have trauma and experience trauma, and to know the most effective ways to relieve that trauma. That's what I think. Anybody else want to speak to that?
I'm going to take a sharp segue away from we don't talk about it enough in our community, and I'm going to put something on the nose here. In our country, we have a very difficult time acknowledging when there are very visible crimes against Black and brown bodies, right? So there can be a video showing someone getting beat to a pulp, and there's always, well, what happened before that? Or it couldn't have been that bad. And that's when you can see it. So when you have a mental health concern, that's not something that you can see, right? So if people aren't acknowledging and validating when Black and brown bodies are in physical pain, we're going to have a very difficult time acknowledging that unseen pain. And that's not even just inside of our community, because what else do we know about mental health? It's very difficult to find a mental health provider who is Black or brown. So I am a Black or brown person looking for mental health. My community isn't a community that's going to support that. I go to my provider, I go to my insurance company, and they're giving me a list of people that don't look like me, that don't understand what I'm talking about, who in their trainings are often told, well, they don't feel pain the same way we do. So that is a very, very big brick wall up against that access to care.
Yeah, me personally, growing up in poverty and seeing all the social norms and having to conform to that was very difficult for me, because when you feel unaccepted in a certain situation or a certain place, you tend to isolate yourself, and that tends to make things worse. So I feel like when you become not a product of your own environment, you're able to branch away from that and create yourself.
And what I have seen throughout the years is when mental health is talked about in society, it's usually a way to exploit celebrities that have had mental health issues. And so a person of the Black and brown community or anyone can feel intimidated or afraid to get help because they've only seen bad consequences. They've only seen chaos. And so they've seen what happens when a person doesn't get mental health treatment. And so when Simone Biles, for example, and Meghan Markle came out, and I'm using them as examples, not to say these are normal people, but it was handled differently for the first time. I've seen people now actually talking about mental health in a way that wasn't exploiting someone, and actually more of a supportive way. And I agree with Danette about the access to care. Being in private practice, I do see those in Nevada and Iowa as well, very underserved. And so they've been on wait lists for months. So when they finally get a chance to get a psychiatric evaluation or mental health evaluation and get medication, they're very grateful that they don't have to wait 3 months. Even in California, it's bad. It can go 6 months long to see a mental health provider. And so the access is also key stigma. So we do need to normalize the benefits of getting mental health treatment. If more people talked about how better they feel after getting treatment and share with their friends and family, because that's how I've gotten a lot of my referrals. They said, my friends are getting help. They're taking this medication. They're in therapy and they're doing great. They're seeing the results and people are talking about it. We can go really far.
It's very interesting. mental health, and as she was saying, once everybody starts talking about it, everybody wants to go ahead and participate toward it. There are countries in which they participated toward it wholly, such as I believe Argentina. But we look at it from the standpoint of when we were in college or in school or in education, during, I believe it was about through fifth grade, all the way through eighth grade, and then from there to college, there was a dramatic spike of people being diagnosed with ADHD and ADD. And from that standpoint, there were drugs that were then prescribed to these individuals, me, myself being one of them. And before you know it, I remember when my mom was saying, don't tell people that you're taking this type of medication. This type of thing makes you feel different immediately. Why can I not go throughout the day in terms of being myself? Why do I always have to take this pill in the morning? Right? And then when you get someone else involvement, let's say a higher up or a teacher, and they use a word or a phrase that says, have you taken your pills today? Right? Something like this can dramatically affect a person. And it did for me for a little bit. I didn't want to take pills. And then when I get to college, everybody's talking about taking Adderall or this and that for exams and, just cramming. And this is the name of the game. And then Netflix comes out with a documentary, Take Your Pills. And they're saying how this is how everybody got ahead. And it's amazing to see, just based off of societal norms and what we know and we don't know, how something can be completely, perceived.
All right. Well, I think that's it for LA. We're going to send it over to Atlanta.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear us clearly? Y'all hear us? Okay, awesome. Look, I wasn't on the first time. My name is Ken Wall, the African Thunder here, and of course, we broadcast live. Look, I want to let y'all know the whole panel, y'all are doing an amazing job. I'm telling you, this is amazing. But hey, just want to say, I had to jump in front of the camera and talk about this because when it comes down to the societal norms and things like that, with mental health, it's almost like as people, or even in the Black and brown communities, we are almost subjugated to this idea of if we express any type of negativity, then it's a problem, or maybe we're too weak and we're not able to handle that thing. And that's one of the things that I think is saddening, that it's still within our culture, it's still within our families, but at the same time, it's still one of those things that I think we've opened the door to a certain extent to have those conversations, but at the same time, it's still one of those things that there's always some extra stigma behind it, especially as a Black man, because if we speak up on our feelings or something about our mental health that's not going right, then it's like, oh, okay, maybe, you don't have enough testosterone or your kahunas haven't dropped or anything like that. And it's crazy that is still the stigma that is still lingering around for us.
I'll say, as a Black male in our society and as a Black man just in general, we are always, I think we have to show up perfect, or just show up in general. And if you ever have a bad day or a difficult day, even if it's physically, much less mentally, you still feel the burden to have to show up. You don't get to make a mistake. You have to provide for the family, or you have to go to work and do these things. You don't really get an opportunity to not feel well. So I think that is one of the biggest struggles, especially with males coming up to say that they're dealing with mental struggles. So, yeah.
I want to go back to what someone said earlier in regards to the biggest stigma I feel like with the problem with mental health, or the lack thereof, is definitely the access in a professional sense. But on top of that, I feel like there is the door of opportunity for people to feel comfortable to speak about it isn't open, especially in Black and brown communities. Because I came up in a household in which, like Kenawa said, it was looked at as a sign of weakness, and so you kind of bury that down. And because of how people may look or what people may think, if you open up and talk about the things that you're going through, people just hold it down. Like I didn't learn until honestly college because I got my bachelor's in psychology, and all of these different psychology courses kind of taught me that that is something that you should speak about, because if you don't and you repress all of that, it's only going to have negative effects.
So going back a little bit with the history, I feel like a lot of times, or going generations back, a lot of us are raised based off of survival, right? So like our parents and grandparents raised their kids based off of like, I'm going to send you out into this world as a Black girl, as a Black boy. Please don't die. Like, I want you to be able to come home in one piece. And so there's no space for vulnerability. There's no space for hurting and negative feelings or being sad, because I need you to go out into the world and be strong. So you got to be strong at home so you can be strong out in the world, because you're a Black man, you're a Black girl, you're a Black boy. So that kind of translates into our adulthoods, and we don't know how to ask for help. We don't know what it is to be vulnerable, or what to even ask for, what asking for help even looks like, because it's like there's so many feelings that I'm feeling, I don't know how to name it. So like I said, there is a door opening. I think the more of us that do go to therapy, the more of us that are mental health advocates need to continue to be upfront about it and to be open about it, so that way people feel comfortable saying like, oh, do you have any resources? I have thankfully a lot of black male friends, and they'll ask me for resources for therapists because they don't even know where to start or where to look. And so I think us being more open about it will continue to open that door and make people feel comfortable asking for help and being open and learning how to be vulnerable.
Absolutely. And we know that we're having a few questions or whatnot as well, but we want to let you all know and invite anyone that's tuning in, be sure to drop in our comments. Let us know the questions that you want to hear. Let us know the questions that you want us to answer, and we'll definitely make sure we do that. So we're going to kick it back over to you, Chattanooga.
The whole point of it, I guess, would be looking at what we like to call trauma brain in therapy, right? A lot of people really don't understand that what they've been experiencing generationally, as well as in their day-to-day life, is trauma. And when you are experiencing what we like to call that trauma brain, you are in survival mode. So every decision that you're making is going to prioritize literally you surviving more so than your emotional well-being, more so than these quality relationships and feeling self-actualizing, what we call fulfilled, in your life. There will be people who are surviving okay, but they feel emptiness, or they're dealing with, emotional struggles from the past, because that has never been, you've never really had the luxury to be able to actually focus on growing and building emotionally. So, when we're looking to our parents and grandparents and other people for guidance on this headspace, they're looking at, you survived, you're doing well, you're growing.
Right.
And we're like, okay, I hear you, but like, it hurts inside.
Right. Like, you never taught me how to communicate.
right?
Yeah.
You never taught me how to feel.
Mhm.
And I mean, we talk about generational, there's some resentment
Yes.
stuff there. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of stuff online about that,
Mhm.
about there's been a lot of stuff about mothers and
Yes.
daughters who have had
Yeah.
these, improper attachments, and how to heal from a mom who wasn't present and all this stuff, right? And there's a lot of stuff about like toxicity and all that. But when you think about it, it's really communication,
Mhm.
emotional well-being, social well-being, relationships,
Mhm.
and the ability to be vulnerable,
Mhm.
which is why we say be heard, be seen, be shameless, right?
Shameless, yeah.
So it's just there's so much juicy juice there.
Yes.
Juiciness that's also probably copyrighted. Educational purposes.
Educational purposes. But like I said, I'm grateful for all the different concepts that people brought up, because it really brings up the word of the day, intersectionality. A lot of us have different things that all intersect to create the challenges that exist for us as individuals. Poverty, being of racial minority, being of religious minority, or immigrating from another country, all of these different things that all come together, right, to create this unique set of circumstances that do make it difficult to not only feel comfortable seeking care, but finding the type of care that is meaningful for you. And I'm hoping that we can slowly ease people closer to that.
Yes, to wellness. And like you said, that luxury of like emotional, like and relational and communicational well-being. So that being said, while we chew on that and find the right word, we're ready to kick it to our next video.
My name is Johnny Martin. I'm the owner of Cage Fitness and Yoga Lounge.
What's up, beautiful people? My name is Jean-Luca Gibbons. It's an honor to be here and to be a part of the Mental Health Fun Fair. A topic that really needs to be spoken about more often. I entered my own journey, I guess, of self-discovery, mental health, to writing poetry and music to really overcome the hardships and the hard feelings that I was feeling in life, and finding that way to express vulnerability and connect to the voices that were inside me was so important. I just want to share two songs with you. One is Thank You, a love letter to my parents. And the other one, I'm Missing Home. I'm originally from Bermuda, and I spent so much time away from there, but that's where I feel grounded, in Bermuda. So I wrote a song just kind of paying homage to the island I love so much. And I just want to share this with you. And I hope it helps you along your journey of mental health. The Bible says, honor your father and your mother, so that thy days may be long upon the land that the Lord has given thee. Remember that. Mama always told me, boy, you're a dreamer anyhow. Follow your path there. The grass is never greener over there. The world is your canvas. Reality starts with those two hands. Pick up your chin, boy. The future starts looking ahead. Just wanna thank you, mama, for nurturing me in good health. Just wanna thank you, father, for giving me life and true wealth. Just wanna thank you, mama, for nurturing me in good health. Just wanna thank you, father, for giving me life and true wealth. Oh, I just wanna thank you. Yeah. Daddy always said, boy, actions speak louder than your words. Complete your task now, so your intentions can be heard. Live by that passion, flowing life into your veins. It's this motivation that brings honor to one name. Just wanna thank you, mama, for nurturing me in good health. Just wanna thank you, father, for giving me life and true wealth. Just wanna thank you, mama, for nurturing me in good health. Just wanna thank you, father, for giving me life and true wealth. Oh, I just wanna thank you. Yeah. Yo, I just want to thank you. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. Thank you to all the parents. Thank you to all the essential workers. Thank you for everybody doing their part. Make 2020 the best they could make it. I've been in California for 10 years, building this dream, and I wanna dedicate this song to Bermuda. I miss y'all. I'm missing home. I'm on the road and I'm missing home. Gone too long and I'm missing home. I'm missing you, and I hope you miss me too. I'm missing home. Been on the road and I'm missing home. Gone too long and I'm missing home. I'm missing you, and I know you miss me too. I remember my first Christmas without you. I remember the rain. I remember my first summer without you. It wasn't the same. Pain and sacrifice, price to be paid for those who wanna make it. Distant memories on the beach with family. Take me back to the place I call mine. I can't go back now. I can't leave this ground. The choice that is made for those with big wishes. I promise to change will bring greater riches. I can't rewind time, but I can come back better. I can't increase our years, but I promise quality. You have my heart. You are my queen. You are my home. You live me. You live me. And with that, I want to remind you all to be seen, to be heard, and to be shameless. Mental health matters. Much love.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a whole vibe. How's
Right.
everybody feeling? Literally, I was just like, this is wonderful. This is wonderful.
Yeah. And I think the thing, we were talking about generational stuff.
Yes.
And we're talking about missing home and thanking our parents. Our parents had to go through something.
Yes.
Every land that every one of us has lived on has a story. And I think personally, I just believe that if we were more cognizant and aware and intentional with the histories that came before our moment today, and if we were also intentional about being aware in the moment with those two realities, I think we can find a balance towards mental health, because both of the gratitude and the presence, which brings a certain amount of balance, but that balance is hard to get,
It is because you find yourself trying to hold accountability and ownership for your own choices, to not accept the things that literally are not your fault or have anything to do with you. But at the same time, especially when it comes to mom and dad, like was mentioned in the song, or even just other people in your life, demonstrating empathy without excusing things that have, happened in your world.
Right.
It's a really tough battle, and then don't even get me started on things outside of your control. I'm talking to you, COVID. I'm literally speaking to you.
Yeah, you can
actually.
go. We're done with you.
We're done. But, you know, thinking about things like that as well, it can be really taxing sometimes to try to figure that out, you know, and, you know, I'm just hoping that this helps you realize that you're not alone and that there's other people out here also trying to navigate this same
Facts.
walk and this journey, just like you are, just like I am, just like, you know, you are as well, you know.
And I think too, like, to all of us, you know, it's hard because sometimes like I know, like, sometimes I'm going through a lot and I just don't have the time, or I don't choose to make the time to woosah, to slow my headspace down and be present, because there's so many other things going and I can get caught up in the what's next, and oh, how do I feel? Oh, how, you know, what, I'm hungry or I'm angry or I'm lonely or I'm tired or I'm stressed, you know, these halts that keep us from being able to get to the next step.
Correct.
And I think, you know, getting caught up in that and getting caught up in my feelings and my needs, but not being vulnerable enough to share them and be aware of them and make space for them causes me not to have empathy.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the song, you know, what the world needs now is love, sweet love, right? I actually believe that the answer to world hunger and world peace, you know, my Miss America application, is empathy, right? Like the fact that we just don't have empathy for each other. We're so focused on what we want and what we need, and we want more stuff and we want more money and we want to look great. And we want to have, you know, just, we want everything to look a certain way. And we struggle turning to somebody else and saying, you know what? I know nothing about you. I don't know anything about your story, but like, I'm present for you today. Hey, how are you? No, really, I'm good. Tell me what good means to you. Like, do we have empathy? Do we make space to hear where people are, to create that room and to start that catalyst of change?
Yeah.
It's easy. You don't need money. You just need a heart and some ears, right?
Yeah.
And I think as we start thinking about how do we make a difference? How do we make an impact? How do we show empathy, even in the little ways? Yeah, so I think we are getting ready to head over to Atlanta. Atlanta, tell us a little bit about just your impact. Actually, I think we can do our last question.
Yeah, I think that would be good. You know, Atlanta, what we would really like to hear from you is when you're looking forward, you know, past this fun fair and everything, I guess what we want to know is, what do you think is something that, you know, each of you can do in your own, you know, unique walk that can make an impact when it comes to helping people be aware of mental health and needs, just creating change?
I think that I know as far as I go with my production company, I would love to do more of work of utilizing my skills, my talents, in order to really pass on the message and letting people know about mental health and its resources. Being able to just kind of like, you know, utilizing what I'm good at and what I'm great at to share that passion, share those opportunities, share those resources with other people, especially those who may or may not know how, you know what I'm saying, to get in touch or figure out how to get their mental health up in the right way, in a positive way. And I mean, the thing is that I know for me, I always used to say this thing, people don't pay attention to it until you put it in a video. You know, we're now streaming live and we got so many people tuning in. And the thing is just that, you know, we've got the attention. And this is something that not only are they able to pay attention to right now, but they're able to go back and revisit this information. So I know as far as I go, I would love to utilize my talents more in order to produce that same quality and pass on the message. How about y'all?
I think one thing I could do better just within my personal community is just continuing to be there for my friends and family, having difficult conversations, noticing in people being so close to them and noticing like when they're different or when things change, are they being so close to me and noticing those things about me, and then having the trust with them and developing that trust to where they can tell me, hey, you might want to go see somebody about this. This is not normal, and vice versa. So just really being there for my community in a much stronger way.
For myself, I feel like in my day-to-day, how I can commit is I spend a lot of time volunteering with a few different nonprofits, and as well as I coach youth athletics. And I think that what I was saying earlier about that door not being open for people, or at least myself when I was younger, to know that mental health was something that I needed to speak about, and the stuff that I was going through, I needed to express that. I can commit to creating that opportunity for some of the kids that I'm around and letting them know that I can be that open door for them to get through some of the stuff that they're going through, and just teach them in a each one teach one type of format, because they can teach other people that they're around, whether they be youth or older people, because you're never too young or too old to learn something from somebody, no matter the age. And so, yeah, I definitely want to take advantage of the spaces I'm in to help people get better mentally.
So for me, so my company is actually PJL Candles. It's Peace, Joy, Love Candles, and one of the things that I'm very passionate about spreading is peace, joy, and love. So that's why I called it that. And so it's always really important for me to spread that message and spread the message of, like, telling people about affirmations, the importance of affirmations, and telling people about the importance of therapy. So I'm really open about my walk with therapy and things like that. But one thing I can also, similar to you, do better at is mentoring. So I used to mentor a lot before I moved to Atlanta, but I guess I allowed the excitement of Atlanta to kind of overcome that. And so one thing, especially now being a business owner, being a homeowner, like all these things, I can definitely reach back and help someone else who may not know or may not even know the resources and how to move forward through that space. So yeah, mentoring is definitely something I should do more of, or do.
Hello. Well, I'm Sheridan. I'm one of the people part of the Mental Health Fun Fair team here today. We're kind of just wanting to answer the question, especially from a young person's perspective. I think it's very important to understand that as young people that we do have a voice. I know sometimes it may feel like we don't, or that we feel like we're not super experienced in certain areas, but it's important to know that it's okay to talk about these issues. It's okay to be an ambassador for these issues. Like somebody mentioned here earlier, like you're never too young or too old to really stand up and discuss your feelings. And especially as somebody of color, as a young person, a young woman of color, I understand that it's important to use my platform as a young and hopeful filmmaker to, be able to communicate a message through the things that I'm displaying and the things that I'm creating. So for me, I think that's just a really important thing to embody. And especially being this young, you kind of have so many feelings that you don't necessarily know what to do with. So seeking help, especially at a young age, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a very positive thing. Even if it's just starting to talk to your parents or talk to friends within your circle, just kind of be comfortable with expressing those feelings and knowing that as a person of color, it's okay to have these feelings and it's okay to express them just like anybody else. So yeah, that's my spiel. Thanks for letting me talk, guys.
We appreciate you being here. Remember, everyone, mental health matters. We're going to throw it back. Where are we going, to LA?
I can do in the community to help mental health is just whenever I see somebody down, I can pick them up. My friend recently, 2 months ago, his dad had passed away and his mom had been addicted to drugs, and he had nowhere to go. He was very lost, and I moved him out here to Los Angeles, and I put him on my bed. I gave him a platform, just tried to breathe some of God's life into him. So if you ever see anybody, if it's on the street, if you're at your local church and you have the power of God in you and you can breathe life into that person, I would respect that.
One of my biggest things about mental health is boundaries. And especially in this COVID time where everybody's working 24/7, one of the things that I've done is I've added something to my signature in my work email. And it says, I saw it on LinkedIn, and I apologize to the person who I stole this from because I can't give them credit. But it says, my working rhythm may not be the same as yours. Please do not feel obligated to reply to this email outside of your normal working hours. Similarly, my response may not be immediate. Thank you in advance for your patience. Because I get emails at 3 a.m., 5 a.m., 7 a.m., and I tell everyone, guys, it's 5, go home. And I empower my team that I work with to ignore me and go spend time with their family and go spend time with their kids, because it's so important. And the email can wait, but your kids just can't. And that's the thing that I want to do and spread to everybody that I work with, and give them that excuse to not be connected 24/7 to work.
I love the responses that I've heard so far, and my part would be to maintain a strong online presence because of the business that I run. I am a mental health nurse practitioner and I have a telehealth practice. So many people find me on Google. And I have found that sometimes I'm the very first person that they'll ever have an experience with a mental health professional or even someone who prescribes mental health medication. So I take this seriously. I make an effort to make each person feel validated, seen, heard, and also helped. And so with that, I find that that's very important because if you're at the first line, you don't want to mishandle that case. I also, sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, aside from that, and then just always advocate against the stigma. Anytime that I have an opportunity to dispel any myths about medication or treatment, even if it's somebody joking, I just remind them, these are reasons why people are dying unnecessarily because they're not getting the help that they need or because they're afraid for these reasons that are not true. So that's really important to me.
So I'm one of 12 siblings. I grew up really poor. I did not have access to any treatment for mental health growing up. And so growing up poor is traumatic. Eventually was able to, build enough wealth to like actually break the cycle of poverty. And now I'm in a place where I've used therapy to find my peace. And I want to share that blessing with the rest of the world. And even through making up enough money to actually afford treatment, it was actually very difficult to still find practitioners that met the needs of myself. And so what I would really like to do moving forward is like to cultivate a network that makes it easier for people with or without insurance or even people from lower income backgrounds to be matched, maybe even with group therapy, lower cost. Maybe it's sponsored by celebrities. Maybe I'll pay for the treatment myself or whatever I can do to actually get young people into actively having those discussions with therapists in a group setting or individually and getting our community the help that we need. Because although we have resources, they're very cost prohibitive, and also some people just don't know the benefits of it. So I think that's where my place is in the world, really to help bring awareness and also resources to the communities.
Aman, I think that's great, first of all. Second, for me, I refuse to tell my successes and not tell my failures at the same time. I don't believe that anybody here has success without failure. And for them to be able to, or anybody to be able to say your successes without your failures, you are literally robbing somebody of the ability to learn that it is hard before it gets to the gold, right? And growing the company that I currently have now and being where I am and coming from where I came from with all of the successes, there were multiple failures. And some of them were, not necessarily good. But I do have to say, yes, don't rob anybody of telling them your failures, because these little things allow them to learn. And that's what I promise I will do whenever I speak to anybody about what I do.
Well, one thing that I really want to make sure that we highlight is, doing this is really groundbreaking for a lot of reasons, but especially the main reason being that you don't get a chance a lot of times to have really tough conversations like this, where you're not only having to be a little bit vulnerable on your own, but sharing what you're actually noticing and seeing every day. And I don't know for any of the people watching or for any of us even on this panel, if it surprises you how many people have a similar experience or if you learn something from someone else's perspective. And that's really important, right?
Yeah,
It
I
just made
love
me really
kickboxing.
happy all
Well,
the different ways that
you can do both, but
people on the panel plan on trying to make a big difference out there, whether it be changing, anything at all, or just sticking to what you've already been doing. I heard, sharing your failures and your successes, just being there for the people around you, doing the best in your practice, everything you want to do, and I'm sure Jay and I myself, right, we're part of that same whole vibe, honestly. We just want you to know you matter. I mean, that's half of it.
You matter.
Literally.
And if you didn't hear it today,
Mhm.
you heard it now. You matter. You're important. And your voice is important. Your feelings are valid. Mental health matters. Mental health is dope. And I'm just going to take a quick swoop right here to say if you catch, quite a few of our panelists are wearing these logos and
Oh shit.
these affirmations, right? I mean, I mean, Kinawa definitely has his on, but
Oh
Atlanta
yeah.
panel, yours is currently in the bag of Kinawa's car. But no, like the awesome part about this space is that we all have an opportunity to share these messages from what you're wearing. Sometimes these messages on a shirt go a long way. And so I'm just going to go ahead and plug Three Bridges Apparel. Thank you so much for being a wonderful sponsor. They are a Chattanooga based company that works, well, worldwide technically, but they feature local artists and local businesses who have a message and a mission, and they have been an amazing group who has allowed us the opportunity to work with them, and they put out our shirts. So Three Bridges Apparel, you'll see the link in the Thinks Aspire and or Mental Health Fun Fair bio on Instagram.
I see you,
Also,
Atlanta. Love
that's
it.
it. Come
Love
on,
it.
there you
Yes,
go.
you, LA. All right.
Woo, woo, woo. But also, just for a fun fact, on Instagram, if you searched My Suspire or Mental Health is Dope, we actually have gifts that are available that you can use on your stories and stuff to show that same support, that have these shirts and things on them. That was just released today. But again, we're really like trying to share this message in like a real tangible way, in a relevant way, since everybody uses social media now. So definitely wanted to say thank you to Three Bridges. And thank you to all the panelists who are willing to wear this, right? Like putting what we put into ourselves and onto ourselves is a statement.
Sure.
And it means a lot.
No,
So
that's it.
I personally want to
We finna
thank
finish
you.
now.
But as we transition here, since we're all in the room together, we can hear everybody and we're all here, LA, Atlanta, Chattanooga. Are there any last thoughts? Is there anything else that you all or anyone wants to share? If you had any last words about this experience, about the message that you want people to take away, are there any final ideas while we're all talking together? You can kick it anywhere, really.
I believe that I'm just in a unique position because I work with teens, right? And that's where a lot of our schemas, our ideas, our thoughts about what mental health can be and should be gets kind of sussed out and kind of gets finalized. And so one of the things I'm actually really excited about this shirt is I have almost outright done away with professional wear, and I wear jeans and t-shirts with messages to work almost every day, so that when the kids see me, they know that these are things that we can talk about. These are things that it's just not behind closed doors. There's someone here on campus who is available to me, and hoping that even though I'm only there for 2.5 days a week or what have you, they know that this is here. And so I have kids come into my office sometimes and say, "Hey, Miss S, I saw your shirt," or "Hey, how are you?" And it's because they've seen me, and I love this shirt so much. Your feelings are valid for 14 and 15-year-olds who are constantly being told their feelings are not valid. It's what the adults are saying. I'm really excited about that. So that's one of the things that for me is really, really important, is to let them know that from now at 12, 13, 14, that you can take charge of your mental health, and hopefully that can carry them into adulthood.
You know, just an idea, but ideas start from somewhere. I think just as important excuse me, just as important as it is to have an HR team, there should be a mental health expert within each corporate setting within the United States, right? It is very important to understand that everybody is struggling with everyday life. And to have at least one person to talk to within a corporate setting, whether it be on your lunch break or a scheduled time, absolutely helps you get through the day. And although she comes from a educational standpoint background, please somebody help me understand as to why it has to stop there and why it can't go forward into our everyday life and the corporate structure of, as we know, crazy America.
I'd also like to add that, with everything going on, especially, we need to also I had mentioned, I want to reinforce the normalization of mental health treatment, the benefits. I can't stress that enough. If more of that was put out there, more people would be more willing to get help. And so we need people to change the conversation about it. I like how we're all from different disciplines able to come together, because you'd be surprised. I agree with Danette. Teens, adolescents. So I mostly see those that are college age and young adults, young professionals. But you'd be surprised what their idea of mental health treatment is. I get asked questions from people in their 20s and 30s. Are you going to lock me up? Is the police going to come and arrest me? Will I have to wear a straitjacket? You'd be surprised, because what the media also shows those getting mental health treatment is usually the cliche, someone laying on a couch or being in a straitjacket and locked up against their will at a mental health facility. And it's not like that at all. You'd be surprised the people that are in these places. They're our neighbors. They're the people we work with. So I just want to create that, just that open space.
I'd like to say, to echo Dominique's sentiments, never in life has there been this much chaos happening globally at one time. And I encourage the panelists and everyone watching to really take a step back and decompress, because right now we're being inundated with messages in politics, diseases. It's insane, and we have to take care of our mental health, and we have to put ourselves first and practice self-love and take each day, one day at a time, and more importantly, look after ourselves, our friends, our relatives, and really understand how powerful we are, how important our mind is, and know what we're capable of, because when we come together, we can really solve and do anything at a global scale. And I'm really thankful for this conversation. I'm thankful for everyone that's here, and I'm looking forward to this happening more. So thank you for having me.
Just mentioned, I totally agree that sometimes the best translation for change is taking care of yourself. Literally, sometimes you have no idea when somebody sees you growing and changing the best version of you, that can inspire them. That can save somebody's life. So as you said, taking a step back, reflecting and taking care of ourselves sometimes is literally the first step to helping normalize the conversation about mental health. So I really appreciate the fact that you said that.
Well, I guess, our Atlanta, do you all have any other final thoughts before we?
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm thankful for the opportunity to be a part of this, because just like how I said, my commitment was to bring the resources and let the youth know that I'm around daily, that I am an avenue for them to, work on their mental health and teach them to get better. I'm thankful for this because, just like I said about being able to, you can learn from anyone. I've learned ways of just being here to how I can approach helping some of the youth that I deal with. So I definitely think this is great, and I appreciate the work that's being put in here.
I'll say it's great to see so many people like myself here talking about mental health. I come from a society where you don't really talk about your feelings, so this is somewhat uncomfortable for me to even talk about the topic, but knowing that there's so many other people who look like me discussing this topic is definitely empowering. So just grateful to be a part. Thanks, Kenoa, for having me.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Hi, I'm also very happy to be here and grateful for the opportunity. I'll also just end with just reminding us all that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay that if you don't feel like you're strong in the moment, but I also think our current definition of strong is a little antiquated because there is strength and vulnerability. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask your friends like, "Hey, I just need to talk," and it's also you don't have to something doesn't have to be wrong with you to go to therapy, right? Like it's important to find a therapist. It's important to go through that process and find the person who works for you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that something is wrong with you. You may just need or be interested in the tools to go through life, and that's really what a therapist does. They kind of give you the tools to deal with life. They don't really tell you what to do. Trust me, I know. So yeah, overall, prioritize yourself, prioritize your self-care, and prioritize your love for yourself.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with everyone. And one, definitely thank you all for being here. Atlanta, LA, yes, Atlanta, LA, and of course Chattanooga. You all have provided some amazing insight, and of course, we want you to continue to take this conversation. Don't just leave it here. Let's not just have this conversation here and then be like, okay, go reference the video. We want you to continue to have these conversations outside of this platform. Talk with others, talk with your family, talk with your friends, talk with people within your community, and have these meaningful conversations about what's going on. We also just really want to encourage everybody to make sure, those of you that are tuning in, be sure to follow, of course, our mental health pages, a mental health fun fair page, as well as the Thinks Aspire page. That's SUSPIRE. Be sure to follow those pages as well. And those of you that are at home, if maybe you don't have or haven't recognized your talent in order to spread the word, but what you can do and be a part of it, and you can also, sometimes it's even as good as just donating to the initiative. So be sure to go to those pages and check out different ways that you can support, either financially or support through voluntary means as well.
Really appreciate that.
So, thank you. And I guess, as we get ready to wrap up, all of us, on the screen soon, you'll be able to see all 3 locations if you can already. I'm really grateful that all of us have put in our time to be supportive. Hey, everybody. Hey, just wave at us. There you go. We just want to give every location a chance to just say in your location, be seen, be heard, be shameless. Mental health matters. And so I guess, LA, if you guys want to just take that together, like we used to do in elementary school before we would leave, everybody would say, whatever at the end of the day. If you guys could just shout it out. Count on down if you can from 3 or something.
Be seen, be heard, be shameless.
Mental health matters.
3, 2, 1.
Be seen, be heard, be shameless. Mental health matters.
Yes. So we have our last couple videos. And
What's going on?
Ooh, go ahead, say that again. Okay. We did that. We really did. But as we wrap up, we've got our last couple videos here for you watching. Thank you so much to the panel. And we are going to go be seen, be heard, and be shameless ourselves for the last couple videos. And then we will wrap it up and say goodbye.
Yes. So stay tuned. We have a little bit more information for you at the end.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Kenwall, the African Thunder here, and I am the marketing director for the Mental Health Fun Fair.
I'm Jay Billingy. I am the founder and executive director of Mice Aspire Incorporated, which is the nonprofit as the parent company of the Mental Health Fun Fair.
And over the past 3 years, we've had a great time, of course, building the Mental Health Fun Fair and, of course, helping a lot of people.
It's been amazing. We started off as a small pop-up event, and we've grown to a digital oncoming empire. And it's been amazing. We've spanned pretty much the country. We have submissions from everywhere. This year we were in 3 cities live.
Yeah, not just in Chattanooga, but in Atlanta and LA.
And LA. And so we're really doing some things.
Oh yeah, and of course, now we would love to see other people join our initiative as well. And of course, they can support us.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, you bring up a great point. The work that we do, we give to you for free because we believe that mental health matters and that no matter where you come from or what your experience is, you should have access. But it's not free for us. We pour our time, our talent, and our treasure tirelessly behind the scenes to provide this content for you. So we would love it if you could consider heading over to probably where you're watching this right now, which is mhff.fun, mhff.fun, our website, and scrolling right up to the top where it says donate, support.
And of course, we want everyone to be seen,
be heard,
be shameless.
Again, mental health matters, and it starts with us. Your contributions to what we do is so vital and so important, so we can keep creating this content that's both intentional, relevant, culturally sensitive, and also important. It's dope.
Mental health is dope.
That's it.
Support us today. Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Kim.
We should probably just sail away, reach the silver lining. We can leave this place. Follow me, do what I say like silent. Hey, put that wish upon the supernova. Self-investment finally pays off. On the fields with the toy soldiers, trophy wives covered in makeup. I can't go back out there. When I saw you under that sunroof, I lost my fear. I took a look in the mirror and saw you standing there. Stop reflecting on the past, let's get out of here. We should probably just sail away, reach the silver lining. We can leave this place. Follow me, do what I say like Simon. Yeah, 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 yeah. Why we have to set our conditions to make love unconditional. Work me up and fry my brain up like it's in the conventional. Micro safer secrets and passcodes, you can't even let it go. Bring me down and get to the truth like a bottle of mineral water falls to the bottom. There he goes when we spot him. In the Chevy Impala, not really caring about now that he don't pick up when she call him. He done dash off like he used and never gonna need a new shoe change. Can't even tie up his shoe. But he said she from the Bears, but she's still not over. I was like she trying to flex on you and me. Figure with that he trying to gleam and thinking too strong. Ain't had a man in too long, but now that we met, she trying to sail away. Just sail away, reach the silver lining. We can leave this place. Follow me, do what I say like Simon. Be seen, be heard, be shameless. Mental health matters.
What's happening? What's happening? My name is Anthony Yates, minister, youth mental health first aid instructor, founder of NAMA, which stands for the National Alumni Ministries Association. NAMA is geared towards bringing mental health awareness to each community across the globe. I'm also the writer and director of a play called When Mental Health Meets the Gospel, which will be showcasing in October of 2021. Negative perspectives and beliefs towards people who live with mental health conditions have been passed down from generations to generations. Studies show that 63% of Black people who deal with mental health disorders believe that it is a weakness. And we're trying to tear down that stronghold right now. I remember when I was in my 20s, being locked up, depressed, dealing with all of these different things at one time. I tell you, I didn't find anyone to confide in because I didn't want to be talked about, I didn't want to be played or bullied. So in the process of those struggles, I found Christ in the midst of it. And that's the reason why I named my play When Mental Health Meets the Gospel. It might not be the same for everyone, but there is still hope, there is still help for you no matter what you're going through. As a youth mental health first aid instructor, my courses teach participants how to recognize and respond to a youth dealing with mental or substance use challenges. You can be the difference. There's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to your mental health well-being. So be seen, be heard, be shameless, because mental health matters.
You want to start? Okay.
Mhm. So I think the thing that, I'm taking away from tonight so far is just like my heart is super full with all the information from the panel.
Yes.
We're waiting on one more video, and I'm just excited to just see like the different talents and the different ways that people can be a part of mental health. We had Miss Stephanie from Life Change Studios. She brought up a great point about how our appearance and like getting beautified, can help. You're a licensed cosmetologist as well.
That I am.
I'm curious, like, seeing these things, being a therapist, working here with us, and also having these other diverse skills. What is that like for you? And how do you feel about that?
So honestly, I just get excited about peopling. So peopling is my version of how can I touch somebody's life every day, through whatever it is. I'm the weirdo who probably smiles at you in the gas station, like, hello, and is waiting for you to like even indicate that you want to talk. Here I am. Let's talk. But no, seriously, it's really cool to be able to translate what you want to do, no matter what avenue or whatever you're doing in your life. And for me, that is enabling people to better themselves, their lives, for what makes sense for them. So whether it's doing hair, and trying to help people feel better about their appearance and just navigate their crown, but also even through therapy, right? Just letting them know, like, we're on a journey. The way I reference it in therapy is that you're on a journey. You're driving the car. I hop in the driver's seat to make sure you don't get lost. I bring the snacks. I got a little bit of a roadmap, but it's still your journey. So it's just really cool being able to translate that.
So you're like Siri / Google /
Yes, except unlike Siri, I'm not gonna wait till you miss your turn to be like, oh, your turn, you do a U-turn. Your turn was back there. I'm gonna be like, hey, it's right there. You see it? You sure you want to pass
if you
it?
don't make this turn, you might be recalculating.
It's gonna take an extra 3 hours. I mean, I'm with you regardless.
Right.
So yeah, that's me though. Except I don't know. Maybe one day I can actually like market my voice. And
I think that would be
Siri, or
right.
instead of Google Maps, be like, Bree.
It's Therapist Bree, right?
Therapist Bree.
Well, speaking of voices and really awesome opportunities, we have one more video that I've been waiting for this video. I think it's adorable. It's such a cool concept. We have Danette Sanders, who was also on our panel of Mommy and Mouse. And well, you know what? I'm gonna let the video do the talking.
I'm curious.
As parents, our mental health is twofold. First and foremost, we need to maintain positive mental health habits as individuals in order to function well at home, at school, at work, and in our communities. Secondly, the mental health of our children depend on us. We are their first sources of support in becoming independent and learning how to lead successful and independent lives. A lot of times, we aren't allowed to demonstrate anything but sheer joy at being parents. Even as new parents trying to navigate nap times, nursing and pumping schedules, a work-life balance, postpartum anxiety and depression, many times we are met with a lot of pushback at any expression of frustration or tiredness. Good mental health makes us better parents. We are more mentally present for all of the "Mommy, watch this," and the stories that have no real beginning or end. Good mental health makes us better humans. We are less frustrated, tired, and less prone to anger when we take the time to process and validate our own needs. When we practice good boundaries at work, for example, it's much easier to come home and practice good boundaries. When you say, "Sorry, I don't check emails after work," it's easier to tell your toddler, "Mommy has to go potty by herself right now with the door closed. I'll be right back." The way that you validate your own needs and the needs of your children, your partner, your spouse, your in-laws, your parents, is how your children learn. Seeing and being open about seeing a therapist. Are other people's needs more important than my own? What attachments are healthy? How do I bond with people? What are things that I can do alone to recharge? Mommy and Mouse came out of a day of frustration. My husband is working from home upstairs in his office. I was on vacation, and her desire to play and my desire to get things done kept clashing all day long. I finally put aside my mommy do list and said, let's do something that we both enjoy together. We already spent a lot of time in the kitchen, so for us, that was the most natural thing to choose. The kitchen is a safe place for her, some place where she can feel included and special. We can collaborate. We can practice things like taking turns, being obedient, and patience. Mouse and I were making Daddy's apple crisp for his birthday. And when it was time to put it in the oven, she got very frustrated. She didn't understand what was going on. Why were we done chopping and mixing and having fun? So this was the perfect opportunity for me to pause and validate her feelings. Are you upset that we're done chopping the apples? Are you upset that we're done mixing and having fun? Well, it's time to put everything in the oven so that it can cook and get yummy. Can you help mommy set a timer? And she cried, and I was able to hold her and cry with her while she navigated through that until she was able to calm down and we transitioned to something else. The thing about mental health is that you have to find what works for you. Once you found your own aha moment, it will be easier to advocate for and navigate for the wellness of yourself and your children. Don't let anyone tell you that you have to do yoga or cycling or gardening if it doesn't work for you. Try on your therapist for size. It's okay if they're not a good personality fit, or if you would prefer to work with someone with a similar cultural background. Journal, pray, read, cook, try them all on. After trying things that don't work, when you find the one that does, it'll fit like a glove. Be seen, be heard, be shameless. Mental health matters.
So I obviously am not a new mom, but that's a real thing. I mean, I've worked with parents and kids throughout this pandemic, and it's hard. So you have a pandemic baby.
Yes,
What
yes.
was that experience like for you?
Well, thankfully, my tiny human entered the world January of 2020, right before everything got in the thick of it. But it has been a very challenging and unique experience trying to learn how to be a new parent in the middle of like COVID and just the world shifting and changing. So it's really cool that there are different resources out there that really cater to this idea of trying to learn to regulate yourself as well as be a present parent, normalizing the experience that it's okay to not be okay in front of your kids. I know a lot of people feel like I have to be strong for them, but unfortunately, what you're doing is not necessarily demonstrating to them that it's okay to show emotion, to struggle with things sometimes, which is going to be a natural response as they go through life, you know? So, just excited to know that that is out there and available. And to all the parents out here in the pandemic, even if your baby isn't one of these new age ones, I think you're doing your best, and it's not easy, but keep pushing through and know that you're not alone in this. And it's okay to seek out help. If anything, you're being a positive example for your children, and being better equipped to help them navigate all the things that are being thrown in their world as well. So,
And, you know, just throwing you on the spot here, just because I think your story is just so phenomenal. And it's awesome that we get to have that. You know, your husband is also a veteran.
Yes.
And also former law enforcement. And there's just a lot of, you know, intersectionality there.
Yes.
You know, with you being a therapist, a newish mom, having so many passions, what is something you would say if you had like one thing to tell the world about like maintaining a culture of mental health in your own world, in your own home? What would you say is a way that someone can do that in their environment? I know it's kind of a big question. I'm
Well,
sorry.
yeah, I was going to say, sheesh.
Should have given you that one ahead of time.
Well, I think something that I tell my clients, as well as I've tried to start practicing in my own life, is I ask myself 2 questions. Like all day, every day, I ask myself 2 questions. It's how does this serve me, and what is this going to cost me? That's it. No, but in all seriousness, yeah, how does this serve me, and what is this going to cost me with everything that I do? If I'm, let's say, as a new parent, trying to decide, is it more important to like wash these dishes versus spend time with my child? How is this going to serve me? What is this going to cost me when I'm deciding on career decisions, opportunities, mental health, everything? Literally, how does this serve me? So if I choose to go this route or not go this route, how is that going to make things better for me and for my world? But also, what is this going to cost me if I continue to go to this path or ignore my wants, my needs, and what I'm going through? So just put those 2 questions on your mirror, put them in your car, on your desk. When somebody offers you another project or tells you they need you to do something else at work and you're already doing 18 things.
Yeah.
How does this serve me? What is this going to cost me?
And speaking of serve and cost, I do want to just make a plug for Mhff.
Yes.
The organization was created off of several traumas and experiences that showed us that people need the opportunity to learn to think, to feel, and to breathe, and to be seen, be heard, be shameless. And that was the birth of the Mental Health Fun Fair. But mysuspire.org, mysuspire.org. You can go to the website, you can get information, you can begin your wellness journey. We do provide some intervention and clinical services right now in Tennessee and Georgia, but we are growing and expanding. We can provide coaching nationally, but therapy specifically is specifically licensed in those states at this time and growing. But we do want to provide an opportunity for people to understand that like quality mental health care shouldn't be something that you can't access because of financial abilities or what have you. So we do have some opportunities there that allow people to access our clinical services. I'm an LCSW and I'm trained in quite a few modalities. Traditionally, this stuff would be hundreds of dollars. But through the way that our platform works, we're able to provide those therapies for, I don't want to say almost nothing, but I mean, yeah. And we do that because we want people to have an access. So those of you who are able and you see the vision, definitely donate. You can help somebody along their journey by supporting the difference in the sessions. If someone is only paying $5 or $10 for investment cost, that difference of whatever, you can donate, and we have suggested donations on our website. Or to the program that you've seen, to continue the work that we do. We do other programming and other content stuff throughout the year. And if you would like to be a part by donating your time to being behind the scenes, helping with this, we have an amazing production team that I hope will come out in a second and say hi, who has been tirelessly giving their time to provide this whole production in 3 different states. If you want to give your treasure, your finances to supporting this work is not easy to do financially, but our team comes together tirelessly to make it happen and using their resources. And if you want to donate your talent, if you want to be in front of the camera, or if you have content ideas that you want to get out to the world, our platform is created to give diverse voices and uplift the opportunity that our feelings are valid, that mental health is dope and it matters. And it doesn't matter who you are, or where you are, or what your situation is. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be seen, be heard, and be shameless with it. And so we really want you to feel like you are a part. On all of our social media, Mhff social media is Think Suspire. Suspire means to breathe. Think, SUSPIRE, one word. Or you can follow us again at the Mental Health Fun Fair at Mental Health Fun Fair, and that's just all one word, on all socials. Yeah, we really want you to be a part. We really want you to make this yours. We want you to use the gifts when you search Mhff or Mental Health is Dope, when you do your stories and content, when you share your information on social media. We want you to just be a part in general. And something as simple as sharing a post is a way to donate your time, right? Like all of that matters. It doesn't matter whether you have money or just an extra 10 minutes to like and share, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree. There's so many reasons why you should be connecting with us.
Connect with
You
us.
can hopefully normalize the experience, because you never know who might see you sharing a post and they may think, oh, I can talk to them because they understand that mental health actually is important, or they won't judge me, right? So like I said, you can save lives. So let me just put it out there. But also just, we're here, and now you know some of the faces that are behind the scenes with Mhff, right? And so even if you just have questions about how you can support not only our cause and what we're trying to do, but the people in your life, if you're trying to determine how to convince somebody to go to therapy, or you have questions, or was therapy or coaching, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're here. I'm one of the people who is checking the emails and answering and going back. So now you have a familiar
Now
face.
you see the face.
So if that family member is resistant to, like, I'm not gonna go to therapy and talk to somebody who don't look like me, ignore that accent. I don't know where it came from. Anyway, but let them know, like, you can show them this thing and be like, there's that girl right there. Like, she'd be the one we're talking to. Like, she's all right, I guess. Like, come on, come to therapy, right? Just know we're real people. We're here. We care about all of you, and we want to change the world. If we're just being transparent, we want to literally change the world and help people know, like she said, that mental health matters. It, whether it's in at the top or just with your neighbor, with you, it matters. And please allow us the just pleasure and the just opportunity and the honor to support you as you go through your journey, whatever that looks like.
And like you said, Bree, it could be all the way up the tippity top, whatever that means, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can refer whoever you want to. I mean, you can refer your governor, you can refer, that little kid in 6th grade
Right.
who's just like having a tough time.
That's it.
Yeah.
But also it starts with us. And we have a campaign going right now called It Starts With Us. Head over to the Mental Health Fun Fair link in bio. And we want you, it's actually on our website too, mysuspire.org. We want you to sign the wall of us. Yes. It's free. And it's just literally you go on and you have the opportunity to kind of channel your inner child and doodle a little bit in support of mental health. Our goal is to get, I think it was like 500 signatures or something like that, in order to just show like there's a movement happening, to show that there are people here who are just us.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't matter because this doodle does not demarcate who you are, where you came from, but it is an expression of your support. And again, it's free.
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit of time and creativity. You could light a candle, drink some water, and doodle. But again, we invite you to sign the wall of us. And of course, you can always hop on any of our websites or our social media and get you some merch. And you can just walk down the street with your head held high, knowing that you're supporting just by wearing a shirt that says your feelings are valid and you are changing the world by your messaging.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head, literally.
So I'd like to invite our production director and producer out for like 2 seconds. Can y'all just like run out and say hi? Pretty please.
You guys have been doing an amazing
You can hear
job.
like the
You
audible
deserve
sighs of them just like
recognition.
not wanting
We're
to.
so grateful.
Just come up on the couch. Come sit on my couch. That's a therapist-y thing to say, right?
Oh,
come on.
Didn't we just spend the whole time telling them?
Right. Yeah, and we're excited. I mean, this team. Matter of fact, if you want to pass the mic real quick,
yes.
And just share who you are and just why mental health matters to you.
My name's Jordan. I'm from Atlanta. Mental health matters to me because you can't function in life without mental health. Like, you have to be okay before anyone else can be okay, especially in your life. If you have a family, friends, anything like that, you have to be okay and be the best version of yourself before you can try to bring anyone else into your life or continue to uphold relationships that you deem valuable. You have to be okay with the situations that life has dealt you. So seeking help, whatever it may be. I mean, I have a therapist. We talk once a month, once every other month, not for anything major, but just for like those mental check-ins to see, okay, are you okay? This has gone on in your life. How has this affected you? What can we do moving forward? How to set boundaries with people? It's just small things, but you need to take time to make sure that you're okay before you bring anybody else into your life.
I agree. I don't know how to follow that. I'm Tylis. I'm the production director. Jordan is actually a coworker, so we work together, and it's been an amazing journey. This past 3 years, I've been a part of all three mental health fun fairs. The first one, of course, was in person. So yeah, I think mental health is important, and I'm glad that I've been able to be a part of the journey, for sure. And it's grown a whole lot. I said the first year it went from being in person, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna help with the video stuff. I'll come in video. And that did not happen. I ended up setting up tables and tents and chairs and all these other things. And I was like, that's fine. I'll be a part, whatever. Then the next year, COVID. And so it was like, okay, Jay over here is like, I want it to be virtual. I want to do a virtual mental health fun fair. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And she's like, well, that's why I told you. You're supposed to figure that out. And so we figured it out last year. Went on without a hitch. It was great. This year we had a little bit of a learning curve, but that's okay. It turned out really well, I think, so far. So I'm just glad that I was able to be a part and help spread the word of why mental health is important and help, especially us, talk about it and open the door for that.
We're grateful for you. And this is just another way you can share your talents to make a difference. I'm just saying.
And let's just like also shout Tyler out because he's being mad humble. Like Tyler is at this point there as far as all the production stuff. And again, like, there were some glitches, right? Like, to us, this is character, right? But like, imagine live streaming 3 different locations, 3 different complete setups. And like, it's one thing to like live stream in one place, right? Like most people are figuring out how to live stream like a conference, a work meeting. This man is out here live streaming in 3 different locations at the same time, making it look seamless on camera. Like that's a huge deal. And he's made it effectively seamless because if all we had was a extra few minutes of time to reflect on our thoughts about the program, I think we've done great. So I just wanted to shout us out, and I wanted you all to see like this is who's here. We're normal people doing normal things, and we're abnormally making a statement that it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, you can be seen, be heard, be shameless. Mental health matters, and it starts with us. So with that, I guess it's the end of the program. Yeah. And now it's time to say goodbye with all our family.
Yeah, I was gonna say
mental health matters.
Yes. So just to
educational purposes.
Just to wrap it up, we're going to be seen,
be heard, be shameless.
Mental health matters.